what's with all the hate for 343 Industries these days?
We launched Xbox 18 years ago with a game reviewers called the definitive reason to own an Xbox.
Oh, I see. Bungie Studios might be a shell of the company that it once was, but god damn it, did they really hit the mark with their Halo series.
Hoorah!
A lot of people, including myself, spent much of their formative years shit-talking to random people online, glitching their way into the skybox with their friends, or just spending endless hours fucking around in Forge. And yes, I find myself in the camp of people who say that Bungie's Halo is galaxies ahead of anything that 343 managed to fish out of the landfill that was Bungie's departure from Microsoft. But for those of you who don't know, and for some reason or another want to learn, why do so many people feel this way nowadays? Well, the original Halo Combat Evolved, as well as Halo 2 and Halo 3, all developed by Bungie, are often considered to be some of the best games in the franchise and have a strong following among fans. One argument can be that Bungie just had a more established history with the franchise and a deeper understanding of the series' core gameplay mechanics, which helped to create a more consistent and refined experience for players. Spartans, Master Chief, Cortana, Forerunners, the Covenant, the Flood, hell, the Rings themselves. All of this, the backstory, the lore, this was all carefully constructed by Bungie over the course of many years, which means that the franchise just held stronger sentimental value to Bungie, which all leads to the next common argument, which is that the Bungie games had a more focused and streamlined story, with a clear sense of purpose and direction that is both compelling and engaging, and is strongly integrated into the game's overall experience. Hell, I knew more about Halo in the first 5 minutes than I did about Halo 5 by the time I got to the end of the damn game. And speaking of, my god, playing Guardians made me feel like I was trapped in a bad sci-fi movie. Like, what was up with that whole squad thing? In Halo 5 Guardians, where's the Chief? And don't even get me started on that atrocious ending. I mean, it was as if the energy in the room was just all like, fuck it, and they all gave up. What a way to stumble to the finish line with this one. I guess Halo 4 could get a pass, given that it was their first attempt, but wow. That game's story also ended up sounding like a bad fan fiction, and that's why a lot of fans believe that the originality of the Halo franchise has been lost ever since 343 Industries took over. I mean, let's take a look at the relationship between the Covenant and the humans as just one particular example. In the original trilogy, the Covenant is not some monolithic entity, and they aren't just generic bad guys that exist for the sole purpose for you to just take them down. No, it's more complex than that. The Covenant is an alliance of various alien races, each with its own ideals and values. There's individuals who question their rulers, and some who are even sympathetic to humans and, eventually, defect to their side. There's a deep dynamic element to this that adds complexity to the overall conflict, and that allows players to see the humanity in their enemies, which further adds to the excitement and curiosity of the player as they continue to push on through the campaign. Now let's compare that to the Banished from Halo Infinite. There's nothing here. There's nothing that mirrors what I just described. It's like 343 Industries just watched every B movie from the 80s and decided to use that as their inspiration, except the "it's so bad that it's good" mantra doesn't suit a AAA game very well. The multiplayer in the Bungie games was widely praised for its innovative features, such as the ability to play split screen on a single console, and for the way that it helped to extend the game's replay value. Not to mention, it had refined and balanced controls that were specifically designed for the gamepad for the Xbox from the ground up. But I'd argue that what makes the multiplayer so much better in the original trilogy is that Bungie brought that same sense of wonder over from the single player experience into that multiplayer experience. It was just as much fun building crazy stuff in Forge and exploiting out of bounds glitches with your friends as it actually was competing in the various competitive multiplayer modes included at launch. There were no microtransactions, battle passes, season passes, armor passes, gun passes, pass passes, none of that. Just pure, unadulterated fun. It wasn't perfect, but perfection wasn't the goal. I don't know what the goal was for 343, quite honestly. But credit where credit is due, 343 games do look gorgeous, and the sound design, although nowhere near as perfect as Bungie's, is still top-notch. Say what you will about the campaigns in 343's games, but they did at least try to change some things up a bit with the multiplayer. Halo 4 in particular, being their first impression, it did introduce some neat gameplay ideas. I mean, there was of course Spartan Ops, the all-new co-op multiplayer mode experienced through a series of episodic missions. There were some new competitive modes like Dominion and Regicide, this was refreshing at the time, and both modes offered a unique twist on the classic Halo gameplay, keeping the experience fresh and engaging.
But while Halo 4 was the first mainline title for 343, their true first impression came with the Master Chief Collection, and boy, what a spectacle that was at launch.
First off, players couldn't even get into matchmaking. All right, we're off to a great start. And to add insult to injury, some players even reported losing their save data on day one.
Hell, you were better off booting up an old copy of Combat Evolved on the old Xbox if you want to relive the glory days. But enough dwelling on the past. As we all know by now, in the end, 343 Industries was able to fix most of these issues, and Master Chief Collection is fully playable and enjoyed by many people today. But doesn't it say something when the more people are playing the remaster of Bungie's old games rather than the new game that your company recently created? And in terms of art style, some fans feel that 343 Industries' Halo games just haven't done justice to the original, with a lot of criticism being directed towards the changes made to the design of the Master Chief character, which many feel is a detraction from the iconic look that many fans have come to know and love. And just taking a step back, and I don't know what it is, but I mean, just go play the Master Chief Collection right now for yourself and hit that good old select button.
I mean, look at this. To me, the old version, I don't know, it just looks so much more pleasing and easier on the eye.
And this is something I've noticed with a lot of remakes and remasters. There's just something about the art in older video games looking more like, well, art and not just these generic 3D models that look pretty, but they're devoid of any feeling. They don't elicit any emotion.
Replaying the older Bungie games, you can see that there's a consistent art style that ties all three of them together. You can look at Halo 1 and how Halo 2 built upon that, and how Halo 3 was the culmination from the past two games. But looking at each game, it feels like it's its own painting, with the artist starting from scratch each time, but gradually building upon the previous work. Whereas when I look at Halo 4 and 5, it looks like the same painting, but just in different lighting. I don't know. What do you all think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and check out some of my other videos if you have nothing else to do.